time like Rubel Castle.
Oh, yeah.
Just like 10 minutes late.
Yeah. Okay, it's 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting of the Glendora Water Commission to order. In consideration of everybody, please silence your phones. I think everybody knows that. In Glendora, we utilize a hybrid method for allowing people to participate both in person and virtually. And if you'd like to speak, please fill out a speaker card and give it to the clerk. Otherwise, if you're doing it virtually, hit the Zoom button or the raised hand, and we will recognize you to participate via Zoom. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Thank you. At this time, I'll conduct an oral roll call if each commissioner can respond with a present when their name is announced. Pat CC Jr.
Present.
Greg Lammers.
Present.
David Thomas, sorry.
Present.
Vice Chair Michael Holmes,
Present.
and then Chair Richard Hansen.
Present.
Thank you. All members are present.
All right, thank you. Please stand, and Mr. Holmes will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Does anyone have a desire to reorder the agenda? Does staff have any need to reorder or add anything to the agenda? No? Okay, now we'll move on to public comment. There's no public in the audience. Do we have anybody via Zoom?
No.
Okay. All right, quickly moving along, commissioner comments, reports. Anybody have anything they want to add or comment on? No? Okay. Wow, really going pretty fast today. Staff statements. Bill, do you have anything you would like to comment on?
Thank you, Chair. I do. I have a couple I'd like to this evening.
Okay.
So first, as you know, Chisholm has moved on to some new and exciting things for him, which is a big loss for us, but I'm very excited to report that Dale has offered to step up and be the interim assistant director for water. So I have all the confidence in the world that he'll be doing a wonderful job for us and help us out. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that and thank Dale for his willingness to step in and help us out as we go through this process and a transition. So the other thing, as you know, on November 28th, the City Council approved the new water rates. Those have not been put into effect on the billing cycles yet, while we could have done that. The reason for that, just so you know, is it became exceedingly difficult to try and split the billing rates between one cycle. So we'd have to put the new rate in, then prorate it for one and get the second half of the cycle in a new billing rate. So that will actually, the new rates will go into effect the next full billing cycle in February. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Moving on the agenda, we have a consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of October 26th?
Actually, I
Oh,
think
yep,
we
go
have
ahead.
one more introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, and with that, I'd like to introduce Jake Chavera, who comes to us from La Palma. Jake is one of our managers. Excited to have Jake here. Been here about, what, a month now, Jake?
Since November 27th.
So, okay, so a little bit longer than that. So, yeah, so Jake's been a great addition to the team. He's really got up to speed very quickly. Staff are getting to know him. He's getting to know the staff and had several meetings with Jake and appreciate his professionalism and his knowledge that he brings to it. So, Jake, welcome. And I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say.
Yeah, good evening, Water Commission. I just want to say thank you for having me tonight. I'm extremely lucky and extremely just blessed to be part of the city of Glendora and here to serve the residents of Glendora. I'm really lucky to be part of a great team. One of the main reasons I wanted to come here was obviously the challenge, but once I met all the guys and the women involved in the department, I'm really lucky. So I'm excited to get started, and I've been getting started, but yeah, extremely lucky. So thank you.
Great. Why don't you give us a little bit about your background and how long you've been
Um,
in the industry and
Absolutely. The last 8 years, I was at the city of La Palma as a water/maintenance supervisor. We wore a lot of hats there. I was in charge of water, sewer, facilities, storm drains, fog program. A lot of hats, a lot of challenges, small town, but I took pride in it. You know, it was a small city, learned a lot of great things, but I wanted the next challenge. That's why I came to Glendora. Before that, I was a general manager for Maywood Mutual Water Company in Maywood.
Oh, yeah.
A little too close to Bell, if you know what I'm saying, if you ever heard of that. But I worked there for about 4 years, and prior to that, I was a water lead for the city of Winter Park, 8 years there. So I started meter reading and just continue to work my way up. Have a passion for water. I love it. I breathe it. I just have a passion for it.
Great.
So yeah, ever since I started in it, I just been getting my education, just trying to get better. And you know what, the greatest passion I probably have is just trying to teach guys my passion for it, and just trying to share my ability and share my experiences along the way. Some rough patches, some good things, but yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, my experience too is one of the things, if you have a passion for what you're doing, and the old saying is if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And also learn something new every day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited to be part of Glendora. So thank you, sir.
Great, great. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will move on to the consent calendar. Oh,
Just one question. With Dale taking on the interim role, can you just describe how that's going to work with the management of water and so forth? He was kind of telling me how you guys have similar but different roles. How's that going to work then? Or is it more of a part-time position you'll be overtaken with that?
Yeah, so he'll be, in effect, to be handling most of the duties that Chisholm was doing, and with hopefully my support where I can help him with that, but he'll be stepping into that role. I think we're still really trying to figure out all the details of it, but for the day-to-day operational things, for any other questions for representing the city in any of the other regional areas or local boards or anything like that, Dale will be the one that's doing that for us. So we'll probably polish it up a little bit more as we go. We're both, I think, trying to learn a little bit about what we're doing after Chisholm left, but because I'd have all the confidence in Dale that he's got the capacity to do it.
Very good. Thank you.
Will you be taking us out to lunch monthly like Chisholm did?
If need, so, yes.
We really like that about Chisholm.
So since we're slowing down a little bit, how long is the recruitment process going to take?
I would say we're probably looking at 3, maybe 4 months to get through that. We've had some conversations today about how we're going to handle that. We're likely going to engage a recruiter to help us with that process, just based on how competitive the market is right now and finding people that really have those connections that can bring us a good candidate pool. So it's probably going to be a few months.
Okay, great. Now, looking around across the dais, can we move on to consent calendar? Going to move the consent calendar?
I'll motion.
Okay, Greg moves and Mike seconds.
Well, can I move with a comment?
Somebody has dinner plans tonight, it looks like.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I do.
I just got a question on the minutes. May I,
Oh, okay.
is that, do we approve them? We got a first and a second, we can now.
Yeah, we've been moved and seconded, so
Good.
now if you want to, normally on the consent calendar, it's taken by one motion.
Right.
But if you want to have a discussion, then let's pull it off. And
Let's pull the minutes off. I just got a quick question.
It's the only item, so you could have your discussion without pulling it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for correcting the chair. On the public hearing to consider the amending the city of Glendora water rates, a motion was made by Pat CC Jr., seconded by myself, to approve the new water rate structure. We didn't approve it. Did we make a recommendation to the city council, or did we didn't, we don't have approval
We
authority?
don't have approval, we did recommend approval.
Okay, so it says to approve. I just want to say to recommend approval. That just make that change. That's it. I don't want to make people think we approved it.
Yeah.
I can make that change.
Yeah, and if that's okay with the commission, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate.
And just for clarity, we had that one meeting, I think you were not here for that one.
Yeah.
That was just more informative, but their formal approval, the council, was in their November meeting. Was that correct?
Correct.
So that's when they formally approved the
Yes.
new rates. Okay.
They took your recommendations and formally adopted them.
At the November meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
28th.
Thank you.
That is yeah, thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar.
With that correction.
With that correction, yes.
All right, I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Pat CC Junior,
Yes.
Greg Lammers,
Yes.
David Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Michael Holmes,
Yes.
and Chair Richard Hansen.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Moving on to the unfinished business. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm looking at Del Wirt, Water Division Manager. I assume that you're going to be giving us an update or presentation on the water supply outlook. Okay.
First this time. Caught me off guard, but that's okay. Evening, commissioners. I'm here to present the water supply outlook for the last quarter of 2023. Next slide.
Let arrow. That one. One more.
Ooh. City of Glendora has received 22 inches of rainwater as December 31st for the calendar year of 2023, 18.2 inches above average. The city's annual average rainfall is 24 inches. And for the months of October through December, we received 3.39 inches. And the update is for this month, currently, we're already at 3.08 inches. Typical water years through October 1st through September 1st of the following year. And our rain measurements are taken at the water yard. Next slide, please. And this is just a chart again of the rain over the same time frame in the quarters for 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, and 2023 to 2024. As of note, you can look at the center with the red square, which are the last fiscal 2022, 2023. You'll notice the volumes from September to December, you got 11.95. However, you can look in August, the next row down, I believe that's green, 2023, 2024. We've had some smaller amounts of rain during the months, but we're pretty close. We're at 8.25 to match the same time period. Next slide, please. October through December of 2023, the following agencies made deliveries to the San Gabriel River. Upper District in November delivered 1,551 acre feet through USG 3. December of 2023 delivered approximately 1,600 acre feet through USG 3. Three Valleys Water District in November of 2023 delivered 499.3 acre feet through PM 26. And in December of 23 delivered approximately 500 acre feet also through PM 26. Next slide, please. San Gabriel Valley Water District, as of November 23, delivered 1,388 acre feet to the San Dimas Wash. December 2023, they had plans to deliver about 1,200 acre feet to the San Gabriel, to the San Dimas Wash, and that has been completed. Next slide, please. All right, the photographs. So as you can see, I have the earlier pictures on the left and the latter pictures on the right. There's been some rain, obviously. All dam operations as far as the cleanup have stopped until summertime. That's San Gabriel Reservoir. You can see the islands on the left-hand side, right-hand side, I should say. And on the left-hand side, the islands are disappearing. Tower work in the back. Next slide, please. That's Morris Reservoir. Not too much change in Morris. It's been pretty stable and balanced as far as water going in and out over that same month period, which would be July, August until December. Next slide, please. There's USG 1 within that same time period, September to December. Consistent flows, somewhere between 1,500 down to about 900 CFS at a time. Update on that, I heard that once the new allocation had changed and the weather, they've actually shut that down. I went up and double checked yesterday, and for sure USG 1 is not currently running. They did have a plan to have it running. I think I mentioned it before, for 365 days. I reached out to Watermaster and I'll hear back. They don't have any information on when that might reoccur, reopen. Next slide, please. Snowpack. California and Colorado projects for rain and snowpack information. As of December 26th, snowpack in Northern Sierra was about 27% of normal. For snowpack in Colorado was about 69% of normal for that time. December 26th, storage of the Colorado system conditions for Lake Powell and Lake Mead, 35% at Lake Powell, 34% at Lake Mead. They've kind of flipped. Same numbers. Currently now Lake Mead is at 35, Powell's at 34. Storage in the California system was at 72% of average. That has changed up to 78% at this time through the California water system. This was done early, December 1st. Supply allocation was I shouldn't have put set, but was planned to be set at 5. It is currently set now at 10%. And they don't know when and if the change was good. If the rain continues, assumption is that it may increase. Next slide. As of December 29th, 2023, the ballpark Key Well water elevation was 224.1 feet, a decrease of 2.8 feet over a 3-month period. It is decreasing, but it's not as dramatic. On November 21st, 2018, ballpark Key Well's groundwater low water record elevation was set at 169.4. The update as of January 19th, Key Well was at 222.8 feet, which is a difference between December and then of 1.3 feet decrease. Next slide, please. That's our water production in that quarter. Well production for October, 227.9 acre feet, November, 724.9 acre feet, and December, 624.9 acre feet. We had purchased water in October, 580.33 acre feet, and that was due to the chlorine pump project that we had, which ran about 2 months. Next slide, please. That's just kind of a gauge on our water production. As you can see in the tan color, that is 2022, and in the red color, it's 2023. Slightly higher production. In October, our production was low this year because we had our main pumping facility off for the chlorine pump replacement project. Ramped up mid-October, so you can see the increase in production there, slightly low at 227.9 acre feet. We produced more in both November and December this year. We didn't have as much rain. Last year we had a lot more rain throughout the months. Next slide. There's our purchased water. Again, in October of last year, right about the same time as when the chlorine facility had its incident and went down. So we started to take water in September and October. Stopped taking water early November, as you can see in there, which is in the yellow phase. The blue phase of October, which is this year, 2023, we took 580.33 acre feet during that month, during the chlorine replacement project. Next slide, please. And that is all, unless you guys have any questions. The recommendation is that you would please receive and file.
Okay, Commissioners, David.
I have a question on the Key Well depth. When I first joined, Chisholm showed me this graph, of Key Well depth versus time. And he has a horizontal bar at 200 feet. Is that kind of like the nominal value we like to see it at for comfort in terms of supply, or is that just an average?
That might be the safe yield. I haven't seen that, looked at that. Well, actually looked at the chart, but I don't have it in front of me. So
The operating range, they wanted to keep it between 200 and 250.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to go below 200, but you can see there were years during droughts that they were way below 200. Yeah.
All right. So 224 is
That's
healthy.
That's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Dale, thank you for your presentation. Question, we were aware of the chlorine pump issues requiring the purchase of water. Do you have any budget in 2024 or forecasting volume purchase for 2024?
I know we do have a budget for purchased water. Currently, just due to the conditions, weather conditions and the conditions in the basin, we don't anticipate taking any water as far as purchased water. And that's kind of normally, us purchasing the water is kind of anomaly. In the drought sections, we did purchase some water just based on the current conditions in the basin. But currently, I know there's budgeted money for it, but we don't plan on.
There's no forecasting in with the
No.
rain predicted.
No, again, anything is possible. I'm hoping to be optimistic with kind of the pattern we're developing now. It may not be like last year where it was just coming down in buckets, but as long as we're steady, I think we'll see a decent year as far as the basin, the health of the basin, excuse me.
Mike? Did you see any positive benefit from spreading out of PM26 in the Little Dalton spreading grounds? The Glendora Basin, did the wells come up and did the water quality stay decent?
That's something I could look at for, because my main concentration is the main pumping facility.
Okay,
I can get that information for you and forward it to you.
sure. Okay, great.
I had two questions. That was one of them was the forecast, but the other one was, if I remember correctly about the increased water rates, part of that is to refurbish our oldest parts of our systems, underground lines and so forth. I know there was more to it than that. What is the plan, at least for this fiscal year or this calendar year, as far as increasing renovation of that system? I mean, it's kind of just a kind of a general question and a general answer. I mean, is there a plan in place yet, or what's?
Yes, there's a plan in place. This is a relatively short meeting. Leah's not here to do her presentation today. Normally they would present the CIP projects, but what I can do is I can go gather that for you and get it to you next week so you can see what those proposed projects are.
Okay, if you can, or next.
I'll make it available to everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a
all right.
quick note, we had our first meeting yesterday with Maliha and the team to start talking about the projects in our current year and for the next 2 fiscal years. So we're really trying to lay those out. So I don't think we have them, while we have the master list of projects, we're really trying to make sure we're coordinating that, not only the water projects, but also any of our street projects. So there's a little bit of coordination going on,
Right.
but we should have that finalized fairly soon. So we are in the process now. Some of the projects that we've talked about last year are still in design, but they are moving forward.
Okay. And with that, and thank you for that. And with that, as we saw last year, there was a lot of repairs that were necessary using our outside vendors. So is the plan this year, if your staff is going to be working on these CIP projects, is there more of a plan to use the outside vendors for the repairs? I mean, more than we have, or do you forecast the same amount?
Currently, in-house staff concentrates on maintenance, which would be doing the repairs.
Right.
We hire outside contractors to do the CIP projects, which are relatively large.
Right,
So you're
okay, right.
looking at several thousand feet versus repairing one single main here and there.
Okay, right, okay. So it'll be the outside vendors who are most likely doing all that CIP work?
Yes.
Okay, that's just my question. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
One comment on your staff report, which might be helpful. When you identified the cost of well water, $200 an acre foot, and when you go over your rights, it's like $887 an acre foot, might be valuable to show what it costs if you have to buy water from Three Valleys. I'm not sure what that number is right now, but it's probably close to like $1,200 an acre foot. So it behooves the city to be able to pump as much groundwater as they can, as opposed to purchasing water from
Okay.
Three Valleys.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the pumping costs versus the treated purchased water costs.
Right,
Okay.
right.
No
Yeah,
problem,
a big dollar difference.
for sure.
But if they pump, if the city pumps over their allocation, they got to pay,
The replenishment rate,
yeah,
but then it goes in the staff report, it says it goes up to like $887.
that's for the replenishment rate?
That's the total cost of replenishment rate and pumping, the way I understood it, the pumping rate and the replenishment
That is correct.
rate. But the import water,
Oh, yeah.
treated import water is like $1,200 an
Yeah.
acre foot. So there's $300 to $400 an acre foot savings if the city can pump its own groundwater.
And what was that, if for us to pump it ourselves, what was that cost?
$200 an acre foot to
Okay,
pump it
right, yeah, 'cause
ourselves.
it's- so it's like 6 times more.
But we have a
expensive.
certain right to
Right.
pump a certain amount of water. We go over that right, then we have to bring in replenishment water. So we have to bring in supplemental replenishment water, and that costs like, I don't know,
Right.
$687 an acre foot. So that's where you get the $887 an acre foot total cost.
Pump it plus
But if we bought water from Three Valleys out of their import water connections, it'd be like $1,200 an
Right.
acre foot. So,
So generally speaking, we're in the 200 some range to pump our own
Right.
within
Right.
our rights.
right.
Versus if in years where we have to purchase it, it's 6 times more expensive
Oh, yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just putting on the record for the case of conserving water, because that's a huge amount. you
Well,
know?
conserving water, but also maintaining the infrastructure we have,
Right.
which I think that's part of the CIP program.
Right. Yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a recommendation to receive and file the water supply outlook update.
Motion.
Been moved by Pat, seconded by David.
Okay, I'll conduct an oral roll call vote. Pat Cece Junior,
Yes.
Greg Lammers,
Yes.
David Thomas, Michael Holmes.
Aye.
Richard Hansen.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, moving on to the water conservation program update. And I see Armando's here with us to give us an update. Missed you last time.
Miss you too. But I'm back. I was on vacation, but I'm back.
Okay, well, I hope you had a good vacation, but Armando, please give us an update.
Of course. So tonight I'll be providing the water conservation update for the second quarter of the fiscal year, just giving an overview of our current programs and our future programs. Starting with the turf retirement program. So we officially actually stopped accepting applications for this program back in May of 2023. But we had a few residents that requested additional time to complete their projects. The last applicant actually completed their project in November. And that was basically it. We shut the residential program down. So just to give a general view of how many applications we received. So as of August 1st of 2022, that's when we officially started accepting applications. We had 115 projects completed, over 172,000 square feet of turf removed, 9 cancellations, nine projects expired, and we gave out over $333,000 rebates back to our residents. With an estimated annual savings of 5.9 million gallons per year with all those projects. Next slide, please. So even though we're no longer running a residential turf program, staff is still promoting NWD's turf replacement program and the city on the city website and at every event that we attend. We're currently looking into adding $1 to the existing rebate program through NWD to incentivize residents to participate in that program. Next slide, please. The city published a social media appreciation post for the Water Professionals Appreciation Week. Next slide, please. Staff organized a field trip opportunity for the 5th grade classes of Sellers Elementary to the treatment plant in Claremont for Three Valleys. And they're given a tour of the facility where they learn how water is treated and where water comes from. Next slide, please. So our comparison reduction figures starting from 2022 to 23, a year to date was 11.48% reduction in water. Next slide, please. And in our 2020 to 2023 comparisons, we 21.27% reduction in 2023. Next slide, please. So during the last water commission, Russell Ackerman provided a detailed presentation on the proposed requirements for the urban water use objective. And the framework basically was created to replace California's first statewide mandate water suppliers to reduce water use by 20% by 2020. Obviously, we're in 2024 and we haven't had any new rules that have been given to us. So the city has kind of continued with that 2020 rule just to give us a guide of how much water we've been reducing. So Currently, the proposed requirements is asking for water reductions based on the overall water usage for the water suppliers, the city as a whole, not individually by residents. So the budgets are not set for each customer essentially. So agencies that have not met the requirements could face potential fines. The fines will not be assessed to the customer, but to the water purveyor, to the city of Glendora. Fines have not been established yet, so we don't know what the final number is going to be yet. We're also required to submit an annual water use report by January 1st of every year with our findings. Staff submitted a draft report to the state on December 28th, and here are the results. Next slide, please. So for the fiscal year 2022 to 23, the actual water usage that we use in the city of Glendora was approximately 3 billion gallons of water. So the urban water use objective, our goal that they've been set for us, we should be using approximately 2.5 billion gallons of water. So that's an approximate reduction of 17% of water per year. So please note that the state is set to finalize the regulations in June or July of this year. So the numbers shown here are not set in stone yet, and the existing rules are subject to change in the next couple months. While we wait for the regulations to be finalized, staff has jumped ahead, and we created multiple new programs to help meet our goals while we wait. Next slide, please. Starting with our collaboration with our SoCalGas. So this is actually a relaunching of the program that we started last year. So SoCalGas did hire a new company called Synergy Companies. So staff mailed a postcard at the beginning of the year to all residential customers. This program is exclusively only for residential properties. So the program offers no-cost toilet and irrigation replacement. Next slide, please. Staff is currently talking to a local company, Green Media Creations. Actually, they're right across the street from City Hall where we're at right now. So this company, they work creating workshops. They specialize in water conservation presentations and workshops, and we're trying to see if we could start generating more workshops. Typically, the only ones that we do right now is for Earth Day, so we're trying to do more at other events and even throughout the whole year. Next slide, please. Actually, kind of going back to can you go back to the previous one? So we are actually applying for MMA funding right now through Three Valleys, which is actually upcoming months through Three Valleys. We're going to be, the funding for that program will pay for all of this. So hopefully we get it. We believe we have till March 1st to submit that. So we are currently working on that right now. Next slide, please. WaterWise Consulting completed the outdoor water use efficiency surveys during the Thanksgiving break, and Glendora Unified and Charter Oaks District properties. We will be meeting with both parties to discuss the findings of the surveys and provide funding options for them. Next slide, please. Staff is in the process of looking into hiring a golf course certified specialist to conduct the field water use efficiency surveys at local golf courses. Next slide, please. And we previously discussed the non-functional turf regulations that are coming up. The new law prohibits the irrigation of turf that is non-functional. So basically they cannot use any potable water in areas that it's not being used for recreational purposes. So the ban officially starts January 2027, starting with public properties, CII properties, and then HOA properties, as you can see on the timeline. Next slide, please. To assist our CII customers to apply with this new law, we have created the non-functional turf rebate program. So the program is offering $4 per square foot up to $10,000 per property. We will be mailing this flyer to all CII customers in the upcoming weeks. Next slide, please. And our new program that we recently created as well is it's called the Community Water Hero Program. So this program was created to recognize commercial water customers that are committed to achieve exceptional water efficiency in our community. The city will once again partner up with WaterWise Consulting and with Ecotech Services to assist us with this program, and both companies are local as well. So this program is pretty simple. So to participate, they must complete a water audit at their property. WaterWise will check all the water-related appliances and will assist to identify any leaks on their property, indoor and outdoor. The participants may qualify for new faucets, shower heads, toilets, and urinals. Ecotech will be doing the toilet and urinal installations at no cost to the customer, so 100% will be paid by the city. So once the evaluation has been completed, participants will be recognized as a community water hero and will receive a decal for display at their windows. That's that little water guy right there. And that's what it looks like in real life. So they could display that in their window, showing that they've participated, and the city has given them essentially a little blue check mark that the property is efficient as possibly as it can be. Next slide, please. And then our upcoming events, our water awareness poster contest. So this is our 11th year that staff has been hosting this contest, but we made some significant changes to this program this year. So we will be allowing all grades from kindergarten to 12th graders to participate. Deadline for the contest is March 14th, and the winning posters will be submitted for a chance to participate in NWD regional poster contest as well. So winners will be invited to an award ceremony, and date and time has to be yet to be determined. Next slide, please. And last but not least, Earth Day. Earth Day this year will be on April 30th at our new location at Finkbeiner Park. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions from commissioners? Greg, Mike,
I do have two
Pat?
questions.
Okay.
I believe you said April 30th, that the slide said April 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry, April 20th.
Okay.
Yes.
I do have two, on the new program for turf removal,
Mhm.
the $2 per square foot and so forth.
Yes.
Does that apply to the area along the curb? I think that's city, but most people irrigate it and they
Mhm.
plant it and this and that. Would it apply to those areas?
Absolutely. So the city technically owns the parkway, but the property owners are required to maintain it.
Right, okay.
That includes using water as well. So that's kind of the targeted areas that the state is looking into, because that grass is not being used for any reason other than for aesthetic purposes. So the state is requiring for all the grass in that area to be removed and then replace it with something that doesn't require any water.
Then it was a $2 rebate and then the city was going to contribute $1, so $3 total.
That is through the Metropolitan Water District program. So Metropolitan Water District still offers the same program that the city offered for residential properties and commercial properties as well. So the city is no longer putting funding into that program because we're switching gears more with commercial properties. And being that those projects are going to be extremely costly, we're moving all that. But we're still giving our residents the opportunity to apply through another funding
Right.
source, but we're adding $1 to it as well.
Gotcha. Okay. And then my last question was,
Yes.
so your slide showed a 20% reduction over the last 3
Mhm.
years. Some of those years had a lot of rain.
Yes.
Last year, a lot of rain. And then in the future, we're supposed to reduce by, or this year, is it this year, we're supposed to reduce by 17%?
According to the current regulations, again, they're still changing the rules that they provided for us early in the year, and they're kind of still figuring it out, I know.
Okay. And if,
So currently, right now, it just based on calculations, we're supposed to reduce 17%
per year, or at least for
per
this year.
at least for this year, yes.
And if we don't, as far as we know,
There might be potential fines, correct? But in the past, when the state has given these type of regulations, I think they're not looking for specific numbers. If we reach that 16% versus 17%, I think they're just looking for efforts.
Right.
There's times that we've gone really, really close to meeting it, and there hasn't been any applications. I think they're mainly looking for cities or agencies that are just not doing anything.
Right. Okay.
But our city has been consistently running a program for the past 15 years. So we have been doing our part for many years now.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
So
David?
did I understand the charts correctly? It looks like for residential properties, we have until 28 or so before the turf removal affects us.
Not for residential, it's just for CI,
That's just
commercial properties.
commercial.
Yes.
So we're not going to get to the point where we all have to tear our yards out.
No, sir.
Okay,
At least not yet, not until they tell us. But for now,
for
they're
now.
only,
Okay.
they're only looking at CII properties.
Okay.
That's
Thank
it?
you.
That's it? Greg?
But you will be Judge David, if you have. Armando, last time you weren't here, but I think it was David and I that brought up following proposed state regulations outlawing artificial turf. And our concern was, is the city rebating for the grass removal for artificial turf? Is there any updates on the state's regulations on that? And what are we doing now? Are we still reimbursing for artificial turf replacement?
Not yet. So the state is still, I believe, is still with the governor's office right now. So they haven't made a final determination of when that's going to start. But as a city, majority of our customers that were interested in that program were residential. So we are no longer rebating that program anymore. But NWD is, so we are recommending for residential customers to go to NWD, but they actually do not allow artificial turf installed in that program. So whenever we do speak to our residents or we're asking about that program, we are upfront. Instead of wasting your time going through the process, we do tell them that they do not accept. There's zero exceptions for their program. But as the city accepting it right now, technically we're not, because we're not offering a program.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It seems like the 17% reduction was based upon a per capita use.
Correct.
So every city could have a different reduction that they needed to look at.
Exactly. So
Okay.
it's mainly used on what was produced and all the new rules that they're placing on us. So yes, and our number could change year by year as well.
At one point, they were talking like 42 gallons per person per day.
Yes.
Okay. The other question I had was I believe somebody made a presentation to this group some time ago about the stormwater capture program that's being developed at Finkbeiner Park.
Right.
Is there any update on that?
That I do not know any updates on that.
Michael attended the meeting last week with the board. They have not made a decision. I believe at their next meeting, they're going to take a vote on that. So we don't have any updates at this time, but as soon as we get action from that, I'll let you know.
Because a part of it was a large artificial turf
Yes.
was going to be put in.
Yep.
I guess, and then tack on to that, the question was regarding packaged wastewater treatment plants or scalping plants to put wastewater into the stormwater capture basin. It probably could help the city with its reduction of meeting this percent reduction for conservation. So I think it's something I asked Chisholm about some time ago, whether or not in the long range master plan is whether or not you'd be looking at something downstream of a scalping plant.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, so maybe next time we meet again in April, you could have an item on the agenda regarding the stormwater capture, if that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, comments? Thanks, Armando. We have a recommendation to receive and file the water conservation program update. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Pat.
Okay, I'll conduct an oral roll call. Pat Cece,
Yes.
Greg Lammers,
Yes.
David Thomas,
Yes.
Michael Holmes,
Aye.
Richard Hansen. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Commission reports, closing comments, anybody? I'm trying to slow it down a little bit.
Just one comment. I like, it seems like every time we meet, there's always updates about the conservation in the schools. And for some reason, I like that because I'm a middle-aged gentleman like the rest of you.
Some are older.
Whatever, I put us all in the same category. I don't remember any of that, like when we were growing up. I don't remember having any kind of presentations or this or that about water conservation. I mean, maybe we should have 40 years ago, 50 some years ago, whatever it was. Anyway, I just for some reason, every time I hear about more and more things you guys are doing, I think it's great because obviously that visibility, especially with little kids. I mean, because I remember my dad back in the day, he would just keep the sink running the whole time he was shaving. Just running full speed.
Yeah.
And I used to think it was odd, but I didn't know otherwise to say, hey, what are you doing? Right. I just go, you're wasting water. But so anyways, I like that you guys it seems like you're constantly doing that. And I like that. So
Yeah, years ago, the Metropolitan Water District started a program for fourth graders and sixth graders, and they really pushed it. And they realized that they weren't going to change the parents.
Yeah.
But the kids
Yeah.
going home would say, hey, you need to turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth. So yeah, I think it's still going on, the programs. In fact, I know Three Valleys offers field trips, which we just saw. They go out to the treatment plant out in Claremont. So it's a good program. I mean, I think the kids are getting a little more educated than when we were growing up.
yeah, I mean, it's just, you would think like we should have been doing this 40, 50, 60
Yeah,
years ago,
yeah.
right? But, I mean, I guess with smaller populations or whatever the case is, less global warming, maybe there wasn't as much of a need for it, but whatever the case is.
Well, it's like what they're saying now is you need to make conservation a way of life. Conservation isn't a dirty word. It's just something you should be doing
Right.
very naturally. So
I was reading recently, you guys may have heard this, about the, growing, residential developments in the general Phoenix area, how they're actually putting kind of, they're regulating that. They're regulating development in the Phoenix area because they, some of that effect, I'm kind of generalizing here, because they want the developers to show how they're going to basically guarantee enough water for these developments rather than just putting up a bunch of houses. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not, but I go to Phoenix for business and I just happen to see, what a bigger and bigger city it is. And I mean, I don't know that we're doing that here in California. Do you guys know of
yeah,
any cities?
we're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it in
Been required
California
in
too.
California for years.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's good then.
You know,
I say that because it seems like more and more houses are going up in the Inland Empire. So
Yeah.
it,
No, the developer needs to show how they're bringing water. And a lot of ways they do it is through conservation, retrofit programs. And that's how they equate bringing new water into the system for the new homes they build.
okay. Yeah.
Pat, it brings a chuckle to my memory. So in the 70s, my mother worked for the Santa Clara Valley Water District, and we had significant drought issues there. So I fondly remember handing out, I think that one of the official bumper stickers and pins and bumpers was save water, shower with a friend. I remember handing out thousands of stickers like that. I don't know in today's society that would be a recommended.
Possible? Yeah, probably not, but that's funny.
All right. Any other comments, closing comments?
Thanks, staff, for your attendance and participation. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Jake to the family and welcome aboard and look for some great things and keep the water flowing. All righty. Okay, with that, I want to adjourn the meeting at 6:47 to our next meeting in April 25th. Meeting adjourned.